everybody, welcome to our YouTube channel. If you're not subscribed, please do so. A couple of videos back, I did one on UFO bulks and stuff like that. There was a comment in there by Stuart. I'd like you to cover the fire in the sky story, which I'm going to do now. You might have seen the film, you might have read the book. It's a famous UFO story. I think I will find out. Sure, it was in around the 70s when it happened. But I will read it. I've got the info and I will tell you the story, guys, so please enjoy. Right. So the incident that involved Travis Walton was an alleged alien abduction of American forestry worker Travis Walton on November the 5th, 1975 in the Apache Sitgraves National Forest near Yber, Arizona. It is widely regarded as an hoax, even by believers of the UFOs and alien abductions. Walton was employed by future brother-in-law, Mike Rogers, a federal contract. On October the 20th, Rogers acknowledged in writing that the job had fallen seriously behind schedule and might not be completed by the deadline. That night, Walton and Rogers watched the UFO incident, a movie about an alleged abduction of Barney and Betty Hill. After the broadcast, Walter reportedly discussed the possibility of being taken aboard a flying saucer. Just remember that. On November 5th, the crew reported Walter missing. They recorded driving back after sunset when Rogers stopped the truck and Walter walked into the forest towards an overhead light. Walter was illuminated by a beam of light and Rogers drove away with the others. Police organised search parties that were called off at an instance of the assistance of Travis's mother. After 5 days and 6 hours, Walton called his sister from a phone booth in Yber. Walton sold his story to a tabloid, The National Enquirer, which published the account and awarded the crew $5,000 prize. In 1978, he wrote The Walton Experience, which was adapted into the 1993 film Fire in the Sky. Science writers Philip J. Klass and Michael Shermer highlight a potential motive for the hoax was to provide an act of God that would allow the crew to avoid a steep financial penalty from the Forestry Service for failing to complete their contract by the deadline. In 2021, Mike Rogers made a social media post renouncing his status as a witness to Walton's supposed abduction. After 2021 interviews with Rogers, researchers proposed that a nearby fire lookout tower and its spotlight were used to create the illusion of a flying saucer shining a beam of light onto Walton. So the background into this. So Travis Walton and the Turkey Springs forestry job. Travis Walton was born around 1953 to Mary Walton, later Mary Walton Keylott. On May the 5th, 1971, Travis Walton and associate Carl Rogers pleaded guilty to breaking into offices of the Western Moulding Company, stealing company checks, forging and then cashing them. The pair were placed on probation for 2 years, after which they were allowed to plead not guilty and cleanse their records. In 1975, Travis, aged 22, was a member of the 7-person forestry crew led by Carl's older brother, Michael H. Rogers, aged 28. The year prior, Rogers won a bid for a federal contract to thin out small trees from an area known as Turkey Springs in the Apache Sitgraves National Forest. When unobeyed to the other contractors, the Turkey Springs job called for the thinning of 1,277 acres by August 1975. Rogers requested and was granted an extension until November the 10th. On October the 16th, a Forest Research inspector visited the site and concluded the job could not possibly be completed by the deadline. Failure to complete the job could lead to a $2,500 penalty and a disqualification from bidding on future Forestry Service contracts. So the incident, what happened? On November 5th, 1975, crew chief Michael H. Rogers reported Travis Walton missing to the Navajo County Sheriff. 6 members of the crew claimed they were driving down the forest road when they saw a lit object above the ground near the roadway. They reported that Walton got out of the truck and ran towards the object, which shone a light on him. They said they drove away in fear, only to return 15 minutes later to find both Walton and the light missing. At 7:45 p.m, a member of the logging crew called Officer L.C. Ellison Sheriff Marilyn Gillespie and Deputy Kenneth Copeland drove to Yber to meet the loggers. Rogers and the 2 crew members agreed to return to Turkish Springs with 3 officers, while the 3 other crew members refused to return and instead drove home in Rogers' vehicle. The 5 men searched Turkish Springs until short after midnight, when Sheriff Gillespie paused the search until the morning. Around 1:30 a.m, Navajo County Deputy Sheriff Kenneth Copeland and Rogers visited Walter's mother. According to Copeland, when he informed her of her disappearance, she said, "Well, that's the way these things happen." Copeland said he was shocked by how calmly she took the news and her general lack of surprise. Walton, his older brother, Duan, and his mother were described by the sheriff as long-time students of UFOs. Because Travis Walton's mother lived in a ranch house without telephone service, Rogers drove into town so she could call Travis's brother, Duan, and their sister, while Copeland followed. Around 3 a.m, Walter's mother called her daughter, waking her. Deputy Copeland was again shocked at how well Travis' family took the news. And then the missing person investigation. The following day, November 7th, a search party of nearly 50 people scoured the Turkish Springs area but failed to find Travis or any signs of an altercation. Law enforcement were surprised when after a few hours Travis' mother told them, "I don't think there is any use looking any further. He's not around here. I don't think he's on this earth." Sheriff Gillespie then dismissed the volunteers. However, the following morning, November 8th, Rogers and Duan Walton complained in person about the discontinued search. As a result, Sheriff Gillespie assembled another search party, which included a helicopter. Regional papers covered the story on November 8th, and that day, a member of the Phoenix Base UFO Interest Group recorded a 65-minute interview with Crew Chief Mike Rogers and Travis' older brother, Duan Walton. At no point during the interview did either express any fear or concern for Travis. Rather, they expressed confidence that Travis would return. During the interview, Rogers discussed the forestry contract, saying the contract we have is seriously behind schedule. In fact, Monday the time is up. We haven't done any work on it since Wednesday because of this thing, and therefore it won't be done. I hope they take that into account. Forestry contracts include an act of God clause that excused contractors who were delinquent due to unforeseeable circumstances. During the interview, Duan revealed that he, Travis and their mother were UFO buffs who had previously discussed that if they ever saw a UFO, they would immediately get directly under the object because the opportunity to go aboard a UFO would be too great to pass up. Duan repeatedly insisted that Travis was not even missing. He knows where he's at, and I know where he is. On November the 9th, law enforcement continued to search for Travis until late afternoon, when Walter's mother again requested the search to be altered. By November 10th, stories of Walter's disappearance were published throughout the US, UK and Canada. On November 11th, the press reported that Travis' mother felt any further search for Travis would be useless. Also on November 11th, Roger and 5 other members of the forestry crew were interrogated by the Arizona Department of Public Safety polygraph examiner C.E. Gilson.
Well, go on with that.
Hello.
Alright, carry on. Examiner C.E. Gilson to determine if the men had murdered Travis Walton or denied having armed Travis. Gilson obtained that 5 of the 6 men were being truthful and described results for the 6th man, Alan Dallas, as inclusive. Walton returns. On November the 12th, shortly after midnight, Walton placed a collect or call to his sister's home from a payphone in Airbar, Arizona. It reached her husband, Grant Neff, who then drove to pick up Duan and proceed to Eber to pick up Travis. Neff later reported he initially thought the caller was intoxicated. As part of the collect call procedure, Travis told the operator his name. She recognised his name as that of the missing man and altered Sheriff Gillespie, who dispatched deputy to the family ranch house. Deputy Clan Flake arrived at 2 a.m, where he witnessed Duan Walton transferring fuel from one car to another after forgotten to purchase gas before local stations closed. Flake did not reveal that they knew Travis had returned home, and Duan did not tell the deputy that Travis had been found. Seeking medical attention for Travis, Duan reached out to a UFO researcher he'd met days prior. The researcher referred them to Dr. Lester Stewart, an hypnotist Dewan took Travis to meet with Stewart, but his first words that Travis needed a medical examination with lab tests and was not ready for an hypnotic regression. Stewart noted that Travis seemed very confused and resentment of drug addicts he treated. Stewart also noted that Travis had a small lesion cut on his inside crease of his right elbow, consistent with intravenous drug use. After meeting with Stewart and Walton's returned to Dewan's home, the UFO researcher arranged house call by 2 medical doctors who were also UFO investigators. When they arrived at 3 p.m, Dewan forbade them to use their cameras or tape recorder, nor allow them to ask Travis questions about his experience. The doctors noted the presence of the apparent puncture marks and estimated it to be 24 to 48 hours old. That day, stories of Travis' return had begun to spread, and press began calling Dewan's home in an attempt to reach Travis. Dewan finally informed law enforcement of Travis' return. Calling Sheriff Gillespie, who insisted on seeing Travis immediately, the sheriff drove the 4 hours into Glendale and arrived at 11 p.m. Dewan and Travis demanded that Sheriff Gillespie not record the interview. After a local UFO group facilitated the connection, Dewan and Travis moved into a suite at the Sheraton Inn in Scottsdale. Costs were covered by the National Enquirer in exchange for exclusive access to Walton and his story. On November the 14th, Travis skipped a polygraph interview with police, but that night, in the presence of the Enquirer reporters, a doctor associated with the UFO group had a 2-hour conversation with an hypnotised Travis about the incident. The following day, November 15th, Travis was interviewed by Jack McCarthy, a freelance polygrapher examiner arranged by UFO Group and the Enquirer. McCarthy concluded that Travis was engaged in a gross deception and had been intentionally holding his breath in an attempt to beat the machine. On November the 22nd, Travis appeared on Phoenix television station Cool, where he was interviewed about the incident. Travis claimed that he had lost consciousness when struck by a beam of light, and then he woke up in hospital-like room, being observed by 3 short, bald creatures. He says that he fought with them until a human wearing a helmet led Walton to another room, where he blacked out as 3 other humans put a clear plastic mask over his face. Walton has said that he remembers nothing else until he found himself walking along the highway 5 days later with a flying saucer departing above him. So, a lot of people have covered this story. One of the best I've seen is Grim Life Collective. If you're not following them, go and give them a follow on YouTube. They're fantastic. They do all onto stuff, and they actually went to the area where this happened. They actually met Travis as well. Knocked on his door. You can apparently go knock on his door and he'll speak to you. He still claims to this day it's true. When you look at it, is it possible that his mate was in one of the hunting towers with a spotlight? All plans shot him. It shot the light down. He looked up, shone the light towards the car, blinded them. In that instance, he hid, and they looked, he'd gone, so he climbed up, and then apparently they reckon he was sleeping in the tower for 5 days. When he returned, who knows? But let us know your thoughts. Do you think it's true? I don't know. I've seen the film. Like I say, it's a very good story, and it's got away with it for years and years if it's not true. So let us know your thoughts, guys. Thanks for watching, and if you've not subscribed, please subscribe. Catch you later. Bye bye.
Bloody hell, they've actually taken him.
What's gone off? What year is it?
Where have you bloody come from?
What year is it?
What about?
Ooh.
What's it? Ooh.
Could be probed.
Come on, bitter.